My ex told my new girlfriend lies about me, so I let screenshots speak, blocked them both, and let the silence burn more than any words. I'm a 28-year-old guy, and for the first time in years, I finally thought I'd escape the chaos that used to define my life. After my breakup with Mia, my ex, I promised myself I'd never get pulled into someone else's storm again. The kind of relationship where every day felt like walking barefoot over broken glass, smiling through the pain just to avoid another fight. But then I met Emma. Emma was different. She had this calm energy, this warmth that didn't demand anything from me. We met through mutual friends, and for the first time, I didn't feel like I had to prove I was worthy of love. She just made me feel seen. We'd go for late-night walks, eat cheap takeout on her balcony, talk about everything from our childhood dreams to our worst fears. I'd catch myself smiling for no reason, realizing how rare peace actually was. I told her about Mia early on, not in detail, just enough to explain why I sometimes hesitated to open up. Emma said, "You're safe with me," and for the first time I believed it. She wasn't like Mia. She didn't throw things, didn't twist my words, didn't make me feel small. I thought I'd finally moved on. Then one morning, as I scrolled through Instagram half awake, I noticed Mia had viewed my story again. I ignored it, just one of those meaningless coincidences, right? Except that night, she viewed another one. And the next day, it started to feel deliberate. I told myself not to care. But deep down, something cold twisted in my gut. I didn't know it yet, but that little notification, "Mia viewed your story," was the first spark of a fire. I thought I'd already put out. It happened on a quiet Sunday morning. I was making coffee, half listening to some playlist Emma liked, when she said my name, soft but strained. "Can we talk for a second?" she asked, her voice trembling just enough to make my stomach tighten. She was sitting on the couch, holding her phone like it was something poisonous. When I sat down beside her, she turned the screen toward me. It was an Instagram message from Mia, the same ex I thought was long gone. The message was long paragraphs stacked like daggers. Mia told Emma I was a liar, that I cheated, that I love-bombed her, then emotionally destroyed her. She even claimed I still checked up on her, couldn't move on, and would inevitably do the same to Emma. My blood went cold as I read the lies, the manipulation. Dressed up as victimhood. Emma's eyes shimmered with hurt. "Is this true?" she whispered. I wanted to laugh, but all I felt was disbelief that Mia could still reach into my life and twist it like this. "No," I said firmly. "None of it. She's lying because I moved on." Emma bit her lip, looking at the floor. "She sent screenshots," she murmured. My heart stopped. Screenshots. I knew Mia had hundreds of texts she could take out of context, twist them to make herself look innocent. I reached for her hand, but she pulled away. I need to think," Emma said quietly, standing up. "I want to believe you, but this is a lot." And just like that, the air shifted. The room, once warm and safe, now felt cold and heavy. I watched her walk away. All I could think was how familiar this ache felt. The sting of being blamed for something I didn't do. I thought I'd escaped Mia. Turns out, she'd just changed her battlefield. The next few days felt like I was living inside someone else's life. Emma didn't break up with me, but she wasn't really there either. Her messages were shorter. Our calls ended faster. When we met, there was this invisible wall between us, like every word I said was being weighed against something Mia had already told her. I kept telling myself it would pass, that she just needed space. But late at night, when her goodnight texts stopped coming, I felt that old panic clawing at my chest. It was the same feeling I had with Mia, the dread of waiting for someone's love to turn cold without knowing why. I tried to explain again. "Emma, please, you know me. You've seen how I am with you," she sighed. "I know, but," she said things that made sense. "You never talk about your past much. What if you're just good at hiding?" Her words hit harder than I expected. "Hiding," I repeated. "Emma, I stayed in that relationship because I thought I could fix someone who kept breaking me. If that's what you call hiding, then yeah, I hid behind my own guilt." just nodded weakly and said, "I need time." After she left, I sat in silence for hours. My phone buzzed with notifications, friends, work messages, noise, but it all felt meaningless. I opened my old folder of screenshots labeled Mia receipts. Hundreds of texts, apologies, her admitting to cheating, to lying, proof that I wasn't crazy, that I wasn't who she said I was. My hand trembled over the screen. I'd never wanted to use them. I'd kept them as a reminder of what survival looked like. But now, it wasn't about survival anymore. It was about truth, and I was done being quiet that night. I sat cross-legged on my bed with the lights off, just the blue glow of my phone illuminating the room. My thumb hovered over that hidden folder, Mia receipts. I hadn't opened it in over a year. The last time I looked inside, I was a shell of myself, trying to collect evidence just to convince myself I wasn't the monster she said I was. When I finally tapped it open, it was like stepping into a museum of pain. Screenshots of Mia apologizing for cheating. Her texts begging me not to leave after she screamed at me in public. Voice notes of her crying, saying she only lies when she's scared of losing control. Every message was a bruise I thought had healed. Reading them again made my chest tighten, not with sadness, but with fury. I started organizing the evidence like a detective. Dates, times, conversations. The twisted part. Mia had always been good with words. Her lies had rhythm, her guilt had poetry. But laid out in chronological order, the pattern was obvious. Manipulation, projection, gaslighting. I remembered the last fight we ever had, me standing in the rain outside her apartment, yelling, "You don't get to rewrite what you did." And her calm reply through the window, "People believe what they want to believe." That line haunted me now. Those words had come true. Emma believed what Mia wanted her to. I took a deep breath and locked the folder again. I could send everything right now. I could expose Mia, destroy her fabricated innocence. But a part of me hesitated. Would it even matter? Would Emma see the truth? Or would she just see a guy desperate to prove himself? I decided to wait, to give Emma the chance to show who she really was before I showed her who Mia really was. 3 days later, Emma texted me, "Can we talk?" In person? My heart pounded as I read it, not out of excitement, but dread. Her message was polite, distant, like someone preparing to deliver bad news. When I arrived at her apartment, she looked exhausted, puffy eyes, hair tied back, that kind of tired that comes from overthinking. She gestured for me to sit down, then whispered, I need to understand what really happened." I nodded slowly. "Okay," I said. "You want the truth? You'll get it." I unlocked my phone and opened the folder. The glow of the screen reflected in her wide eyes as I scrolled through the messages. Mia apologizing for lying. Screenshots of her flirting with her coworker while pretending she was homesick. The voice notes where she admitted to losing it and making things up to feel in control. Emma covered her mouth, whispering, "Oh my God," as if each screenshot peeled away a layer of illusion. "She did this before," I said quietly. "Whenever she felt like I was moving on, she'd find a way to ruin it. She doesn't want me. She just doesn't want to lose me." Emma's eyes filled with tears. "I'm so sorry," she said. "I wanted to trust you, but the way she worded things." She sounded so convincing. I smiled faintly, but there was no warmth in it. That's what she's good at, convincing. She reached for my hand, but something inside me had shifted. The trust we had felt fractured, not because she doubted me, but because she believed her. I could forgive fear, but not disbelief in the face of truth. We sat in silence for a long time. The air between us felt heavy, not angry, just hollow, like something had already ended. Even if neither of us said it out loud, when I finally stood to leave, Emma whispered, "Are we okay?" I looked at her and said softly, "I don't know yet." After that night, I thought maybe things would calm down. Emma had seen the truth. Mia had been exposed. I expected silence, closure even. But Mia doesn't know how to disappear quietly. She thrives on the echo. It started small. A random number texting? You think people believe you now? I blocked it. Then another account messaged me on Instagram, a blank profile with a single post. "You can't hide forever." The profile disappeared within minutes. She was creating, deleting, and remaking accounts just to reach me. Every ping on my phone made my chest tighten. I started keeping my ringer off, but even the silence felt loud. One evening, I opened my DMs and saw her comment under an old photo. Funny how abusers always play victim. My hand shook. I didn't reply. I couldn't. That's exactly what she wanted, a reaction. Instead, I blocked the account and sat in the dark, breathing through the rage. I'd spent years reacting to her chaos, letting her dictate my emotions. Not this time. I wouldn't give her that power. But every night, it got harder to resist. Emma tried to comfort me, but I could feel her pulling away again. "Maybe just ignore it," she said softly. "She'll get bored eventually." But Mia never got bored. She got worse. Within days, she began messaging mutual friends, sending them warnings about me. A few even reached out to ask if everything was okay. The humiliation was suffocating. I stared at my reflection one night and barely recognized myself. Tired eyes, clenched jaw, that haunted look I thought I'd buried with the past. That's when I realized something terrifying. Mia didn't want me back. She just wanted to control how I existed in other people's minds. And she was winning. I didn't find out right away. It was a mutual friend who let it slip casually, like it was nothing. "Hey man, saw Emma and Mia together at that cafe on 6th Street the other day. Didn't know they were cool now." For a second I thought I'd misheard him. "Wait, what did you say?" He frowned. "Yeah, they were sitting by the window. Looked serious. Didn't want to interrupt." My chest went cold. I texted Emma right away. "Were you with Mia today?" It took her 20 minutes to reply. "Yeah, I just wanted to clear the air, that's all." Clear the air. My stomach twisted. She met the person who had been tormenting me for weeks. The woman who lied, manipulated, and tried to ruin us, and she called it clearing the air. She opened the door looking guilty, but defiant. I needed to hear her side, she said. She seemed broken, like she'd been hurt too. I felt my jaw clench. Hurt. "Emma, she's the reason you don't trust me right now. She's the reason I barely sleep anymore. And you think she's the victim?" Her eyes filled with tears. "I just needed closure, okay?" "Closure," I repeated, my voice cracking. "From who, the woman who's still stalking me?" "You needed closure from my abuser." The silence that followed was unbearable. I could feel something inside me tearing apart, that final thread of trust snapping. She reached out to touch my arm, but I stepped back. "You didn't want the truth," I said quietly. "You wanted a story that made sense. And she gave you one?" Emma's tears fell silently as I walked past her. I didn't slam the door. I didn't shout. But in that moment, something inside me finally broke. That night, I didn't sleep. I just sat in the dark, staring at the glow of my phone, as if it held answers to questions I didn't want to ask. My mind replayed every word, every lie, every look between us, Emma's pity, Mia's cruelty. The two women who had shaped my life in opposite ways had somehow ended up on the same side. Even if they didn't realize it, I scrolled through my messages until I found the chat with Mia, the old one I never deleted. Every insult, every apology, every manipulation was still there. And then the newer ones, her anonymous threats, her fake profiles, the digital fingerprints of obsession. I took screenshots of everything. Not to send yet, just to see it all. To confront the wreckage she'd left behind. Then I opened the folder again, Mia receipts. My thumb hovered over the select all button. Hundreds of screenshots stared back at me like ghosts frozen in time. I imagined sending them to everyone, Emma, my friends, her coworkers, letting the truth flood every corner she'd poisoned. But instead, I did something quieter. I selected all the images, attached them in one message, and sent them to just two people, Emma and Mia. No caption, no defense, no explanation, just the truth. Seconds later, the message showed delivered. Then silence. No typing dots. No replies. I stared at the screen for a long time, my chest hollow, but strangely calm. Then I blocked them both, every number, every account, every trace. For the first time in years, I didn't feel rage or heartbreak, just exhaustion. The kind that settles deep in your bones after surviving a war no one else knew you were fighting. The silence that followed wasn't empty. It was judgment, freedom, and revenge all at once. The moment I hit block, the world went still. No buzzing phone, no notifications, no new messages waiting to be read or feared. Just silence. I hadn't realized how addicted I'd become to chaos until it was gone. For the first time in years, my phone lay face down on the table, and the quiet wasn't suffocating, it was cleansing. That night, I slept for 9 straight hours. No jolting awake to the sound of a message. No anxious scrolling at 3 a.m., just deep, uninterrupted sleep. When I woke up, the sun was spilling across my room like it was reminding me what peace looked like. The next few days felt strange, like learning how to live in a world without noise. No one asked me to explain myself. No one accused me of anything. Friends messaged to hang out, and I actually went. I laughed. I ate. I existed. Slowly, I started feeling like a person again, instead of a defendant on trial for someone else's lies. But the silence had an edge, because deep down, I knew the story wasn't over. Mia didn't like being ignored, and people like her, they can't stand losing control. Every time my phone vibrated, even from a delivery app, my heart still jumped. Trauma doesn't vanish, it lingers, waiting to remind you. One night I opened Instagram just to check. Mia's profile was gone, either deleted or private. Emma's too. No trace of either of them anywhere. Just absence. It should have felt like victory, but it didn't. It felt like standing in an empty house after the fire's out. Quiet, but scorched. I didn't know it then, but that silence, that heavy, endless quiet was about to speak louder than any message ever could. A week passed before I realized the silence had started to work in my favor. I didn't post anything, didn't defend myself online, didn't even mention what happened. But people talk, and when a liar loses control of the narrative, they start to unravel all on their own. It began with a message from a mutual friend. Jake, dude, what's going on with Mia? She's losing it. I didn't reply. But later that night, I checked my social media. Mia's cryptic posts had shifted tone. First, he ruined my life. Then some people just can't handle honesty. And eventually, truth always comes out. The irony almost made me laugh. The more she tried to control the story, the more cracks appeared. Friends started commenting things like, "Wait, didn't you admit to cheating last year? And didn't you say you were over him?" People weren't buying it anymore. Emma, on the other hand, stayed completely quiet. No posts, no messages. Just disappeared from the noise. But mutual friends began to piece things together. Screenshots circulate fast, especially when the truth hits harder than gossip. Someone I barely knew sent me a DM. "Hey man, sorry I believed her. Guess not everything was as it seemed." I didn't gloat. I didn't respond. The satisfaction came from doing nothing. From knowing I didn't have to scream to be heard. My silence was its own statement, calm, steady, and louder than their chaos. Each day, Mia's circle got smaller. People stopped engaging with her posts, stopped defending her. The empire of lies she'd built started to crumble quietly, the way rot spreads unseen until the structure collapses. For once, I wasn't the one being questioned. I was just watching from the sidelines as the truth did what it always does when you stop forcing it. It surfaces. It was late on a Thursday night when my phone buzzed. I'd almost forgotten what that sound felt like. Sharp, unexpected, unsettling. I glanced at the screen and froze. The number wasn't saved, but I recognized it immediately. "I'm sorry. You didn't deserve any of that." It was Emma. I stared at the message for a long time, the words blurring slightly. My heart didn't race like it used to. Instead, I waited, but before I could decide whether to respond, another text came through. Everything she said fell apart. People showed me the screenshots. I feel so stupid. I just wanted to believe the best in her. I put the phone down and rubbed my face. There was a time when I would have dropped everything for a text like that. I would have seen it as hope or maybe redemption, but now, it just felt hollow. She kept texting, fragments of guilt, remorse, and apology. You were good to me. I miss how calm things felt. Should have trusted you, I never replied. Not because I was angry, but because there was nothing left to say. Words had already done enough damage. For the first time, silence felt like a boundary instead of a punishment. Hours later, I reopened her messages. The last one read, "I hope you're okay." I stared at it until the screen dimmed, then deleted the whole thread. My chest felt strangely light, like I'd finally exhaled after holding my breath for months. Emma wasn't my enemy. She was just another casualty of Mia's manipulation. But even forgiveness doesn't mean reconnection. For the first time, I didn't crave closure. I was closure, and I knew exactly what I had to do next. The next morning, I woke up to a quiet room filled with sunlight. No unread messages, no drama, no ghosts waiting in my notifications. Just peace, the kind that doesn't demand attention, the kind that doesn't need proof to exist. I sat on the edge of my bed and realized something simple but powerful. Silence wasn't empty. It was full of answers. I didn't need revenge. I didn't need validation. I'd already won the moment I chose not to play their game. Mia wanted me to fight, to defend myself, to drown in the noise she created. Emma wanted closure, a final conversation to tie things up neatly. But both of them underestimated the power of absence. Because sometimes, the loudest revenge is not being there when they finally understand what they lost. Weeks passed, and life slowly returned to color. I started seeing friends again, focusing on work, even picking up old hobbies I'd abandoned. The laughter felt real this time, not forced, not distracted. I stopped checking social media altogether. People said Mia had gone quiet, that she'd moved on, or maybe just run out of stories. Either way, I didn't care. I'd already written my own ending. One night, I stood on that same balcony where Emma and I once talked for hours. The city hummed below, soft and distant. I scrolled through my camera roll and found a picture of me smiling, genuinely smiling, before everything happened. I deleted it, not out of bitterness, because I didn't need to look back to remember who I was. I whispered to myself, "You survived. You're free." And in that moment, I realized the silence Mia feared the most had become my peace. They wanted my attention. Instead, they got my absence, and it burned louder than any words ever could.